faithfully conveying value and interpreting great books from around the world. Hello, this is Sally's Book Talk. Today, we're diving into Death's End, the final book in the Three Body series. Oh, it's the biggest and most sci-fi packed one in the trilogy. The second book, The Dark Forest, covers the crisis of humanity battling the Trisolaran civilization. The story timeline spans 200 years in the second book, while the third one stretches from the crisis era all the way to the end of the universe. Yeah, in this novel, Liu Cixin doesn't just hint at relationships between cosmic civilizations with metaphors like in the first two books. This time, he directly paints a vast cosmic picture detailing the end of the universe with rich descriptions. He calls this vision Death's End. That phrase sounds both awesome and a bit melancholic, which is the core theme of the third book. You might wonder, isn't this sci-fi? Where does death come from? Of course, science never buys into gods or monsters. Once we finish the story, you'll get what death means in Liu Cixin's view and what immortality signifies. All right, so before the story, let's meet the protagonist, Cheng Xin. She's a young female scientist. She works at the UN Planetary Defense Council, the agency behind the Wallfacer Plan in Book 2. This seemingly ordinary girl is actually the linchpin of the whole novel. I'd say her four choices shaped the course of human civilization, even altered the fate of the entire solar system, in a way. You might ask, can one person really do that? Hold on. Next, I'll use Cheng Xin's four choices to tell you the full story of Death's End. First, Cheng Xin's initial choice happened in the Staircase Project. Oh, she proposed sending a human brain to the Trisolaran fleet. We'll call it the Head Delivery Op for short. The person whose head was sent is named Yun Tianming. Before being chosen, he was just an unremarkable, kind of unlucky guy. At 28, he got a terminal illness and was near death. While in the hospital, a classmate visited Yun Tianming. This classmate had made a fortune selling herbal juice. Oh, and juicing grass into juice was Yun Tianming's idea. He shared with him. So this wealthy classmate gave Yun Tianming $3 million as repayment in the hospital. But hey, what good is all this money to Yun Tianming? He had already decided to apply for euthanasia. At this time, it was the early deterrence era. To counter the Trisolaran civilization, the UN needed tons of scientific research. For this purpose, the UN began selling ownership of stars in space to the public to raise funds. Before preparing for euthanasia, Yun Tianming suddenly remembered Cheng Xin, his college crush. Oh, he had a whimsical idea and made a super romantic decision. Buy a star in the sky for Cheng Xin with the $3 million and gift it to her anonymously. But Cheng Xin knew nothing about this. She was totally focused on her work, tackling a tough problem with director Wade. Wade is a ruthless, hard-edged man with an iron will, who plays a crucial role in Cheng Xin's future life. His famous motto is, advance, advance, advance by any means necessary. His work group's main project is launching a probe to the Trisolaran fleet to monitor them. Oh, this sounds simple, but it's super hard because the Trisolaran fleet moves at 1% light speed. And humanity's max travel speed back then was only 0.01% light speed. At that pace, when we'd meet them, the Trisolarans would have already invaded. So, to send a probe, we need to boost its speed 100 times. Oh, Wade and Cheng Xin were stuck. Then Cheng Xin proposed a bold idea. Make the probe a radiation sail ship, using solar nuke blasts to propel it to 1% light speed. But oh no, the radiation sail has crazy weight limits. To hit top speed, it can only carry half a kilo. With that limit, no way a high-tech probe fits. Just when the plan was failing, Wade spoke up and saved it. He said, send a human brain. Whoa, this sounds incredibly cruel. But in the crisis era, it became a plan that had to be pushed through. So the choice of whose brain to send became crucial. Oh, just then, Cheng Xin learned from a classmate that Yun Tianming was about to get euthanized. With his STEM background and terminal illness, Yun Tianming became the ideal brain candidate for space in Cheng Xin and Wade's eyes. Meanwhile, Yun Tianming saw that Cheng Xin, whom he deeply loved, actually wanted to launch his brain into space to spy on the Trisolarans. Ah, this obviously shows she has no feelings for him. For a moment he felt utterly hopeless. But facing Cheng Xin's request at his bedside, he still agreed to test the head delivery plan. The absurd part is, this head delivery mission exactly needs someone who's given up on human life and can handle total isolation. And imagine, oh, if the Trisolarans really revive Yun Tianming from his brain, he'd live among aliens for life. So Yun Tianming passed the intelligence agency's vetting and became the final pick. Just as Yun Tianming's brain was being extracted, Wade told Cheng Xin that the mysterious star she got recently was a gift from Yun Tianming. Only then did Cheng Xin realize Yun Tianming had always loved her deeply, yet she sent him on a one-way trip herself. She was overwhelmed with guilt and pain. Meanwhile, Wade watched coldly from the sidelines, savoring her suffering. Why did Wade do this? Does he hold a grudge against Cheng Xin? No, on the contrary, Wade highly values Cheng Xin. He believes Cheng Xin has the brains to advance humanity's space efforts, but her emotions are too intense. Emotional folks can't handle big responsibilities. Wade hopes that through painful trials, Cheng Xin can become rational and tough. The sail ship launched and flew off with no clue when it might bring back Trisolaran intel. To preserve the research team, Cheng Xin was put into cryosleep. This was Cheng Xin's first big choice. In this decision, she helped launch the probe to the Trisolaran fleet, which later made Yun Tianming a lifeline for all mankind. How did Yun Tianming become humanity's lifeline? I'll keep going in the story later, explaining how Cheng Xin's first choice shaped Yun Tianming's life, and her second one changed humanity's fate. What happened? This brings us back to Luo Ji, the protagonist from Book 2. After Luo Ji successfully deterred the Trisolarans, humanity established relatively stable relations with their world. The exchanges between civilizations shifted from secretive hostility to surprisingly flourishing interactions. The Trisolarans shared advanced tech with humans and lifted the Sophon's blockade on Earth's fundamental physics. Earth's civilization advanced rapidly, while humans sent cultural content to the cold Trisolaran civilization. The Trisolarans shared tons of cultural content, novels, poetry, films, and more, with humanity. This culture contained human emotions, showcasing an artistic style totally different from Trisolaran norms. The Trisolarans loved it so much they even started creating art themselves. These works then spread back to the human world. After 60 years, humans couldn't even tell if a work came from humans or Trisolarans. Meanwhile, human aesthetics shifted from 21st century postmodern gloom toward warmth and tranquility. Even men became gentle, losing their ruggedness. With long hair, gentler than women's, humans felt optimistic, and their view of Trisolarans changed completely. They were no longer seen as cold invaders, but as neighbors surviving harsh conditions, worthy of sympathy. Even the Sophon that once locked Earth science now appeared as a gentle kimono-clad woman, serving as Trisolaran ambassador. In this era, Luoji began to stand out as misfit. For 60 years, he steadfastly upheld his duty as the sword holder. The sword holder is the one who controls the button to broadcast Trisolaris' coordinates. This was humanity's final trump card against the Trisolarans in the Dark Forest. Earth must always maintain the ability to broadcast Trisolaris' location across the universe. Under cosmic Dark Forest rules, once coordinates are revealed, Trisolaran civilization faces attacks from other advanced species. In other words, beneath surface peace, the Dark Forest looms like a sword of Damocles over both worlds. Luo Ji is the hair holding it, one button press exposes Trisolaris at light speed, making it a target. At the same time, Earth's coordinates will be randomly exposed to, oh, this is a mutual destruction button. Just like the Cold War between the US and USSR in the 1970s, once the nuclear button is pressed, both sides are doomed to mutual destruction. Both Earth and Trisolaris feel Luoji's deterrence is incredibly high. But high deterrence isn't necessarily good. Oh, everyone thinks you're super dangerous. People start saying, look, the Trisolarans are harmless and gentle now. Yet you're holding this deadly weapon with a cold stare. That doesn't seem fair. And in this peace first, forever happy society, how can we let a cold-hearted person like Luo Ji guard our whole civilization? Who knows? One day you might be in a bad mood, and with a shaky hand, you could wipe out both worlds in seconds. This is like the saying, when the cunning rabbits die, the hunting dogs are cooked. In peaceful times, a military leader holding heavy weapons is absolutely a dangerous figure. So, the savior Liu Ji became a hated character. The masses and the UN demand he hand over his military power, the button to launch gravitational waves. Luo Ji said, fine, then find a reliable sword holder. I'm almost 100 and should retire anyway. At this point, people wondered who should replace Luo Ji. Then Cheng Xin emerged and caught everyone's eye. Oh, people thought she was perfect for the sword holder role. Why? Even though Cheng Xin had just woken from hibernation, and though she was involved in the head delivery plan, she wasn't famous. So why did everyone pick her? This goes back to the star Yun Tianming gave Cheng Xin. Oh, she was in hibernation for 60 years. After all these years, among the owners of the 14 stars sold back then, only Cheng Xin is still alive. That itself is symbolic. And her emotional, gentle, feminine aura is the most popular type in current human civilization. People felt she was exactly the right person to be the sword holder. Just as Cheng Xin was hesitating, she unexpectedly faced an assassination attempt. Ah, the one trying to kill her was none other than her old boss, Wade. Oh, Wade wants to kill Cheng Xin for a simple reason. He thinks she's super popular and likely to be elected as the sword holder. But she's way too emotional. That's the worst trait for a sword holder. So he aims to stop Cheng Xin from becoming the sword holder. But, oh, an accident happened. This tough guy, dead set on carrying humanity's future, had his gun jam. Cheng Xin survived. The assassination attempt made Cheng Xin widely noticed. She also met Sofan, the Trisolaran ambassador to Earth. Sofan seemed like a real, traditional Japanese woman, blending in seamlessly, which shocked Cheng Xin. Sofan said the Trisolaran world genuinely wants her as sword holder, using kindness to protect peace. Meanwhile, the UN also favored Cheng Xin, and at this point, Cheng Xin still held deep guilt toward Yun Tianming. With all these factors, Cheng Xin finally decided to run for sword holder to safeguard peace for both civilizations. And just as Wade predicted, in the UN square, she got a roaring welcome, won the election. People called her the Saint Mother. But the moment she took the control button from Luo Ji, humanity's 60-year peace ended. Oh, almost instantly, the Trisolaran death weapon, Droplet, flew toward Earth to destroy the gravitational wave transmitter, the sword holder's button. Clearly, Sofan's earlier talk was totally deceiving her. The Trisolarans had a premeditated plan to lull humans, softening their resolve with appeasement policies. They'd been waiting for a sword holder with weak resolve, unwilling to trigger mutual destruction. And now they got one. Oh, the Trisolarans, once deterred by human schemes, had learned deception fast in 60 years. They defeated the careless Earth civilization. Facing the attack, kind-hearted Cheng Xin couldn't press the button to destroy both worlds. In the end, she chose to abandon the droplet, quickly wrecking Earth's deterrence systems. The balance system from the Dark Forest era was completely finished. Meanwhile, humans were shocked to find Trisolaris had sent a second fleet to the solar system. Unlike the first fleet, the second one actually reached light speed. While sharing tech with humans, the Trisolarans were secretly developing super weapons. While humans dreamed of peace, Trisolarans mastered light speed travel. They'd reach Earth in 4 years. Oh, and Sophone, once gentle, became Trisolarans' dictator on Earth. She declared Earth was now Trisolaran territory. Humans must all move to Australia, humanity's last reserve. Sophon said tens of millions would survive. Earth's civilization wouldn't die but would flicker like an eternal lamp in a tomb. Australia became a living hell. Cheng Xin, the former Saint Mother, arrived only to be beaten and scorned by those who once adored her. She went from saint to demon in their eyes. Even Cheng Xin regretted it. Why hadn't Wade's assassination attempt succeeded? She thought if Wade were swordholder, his style would have maintained deterrence. That had the Trisolarans really won? Was there still hope for humans to turn things around? Yes, because humanity had unintentionally preserved a force, the starships. The gravity had been chasing a fugitive ship, the blue space. Remember that name? In the dark forest, it was the ship that escaped and survived the Doomsday Battle. But during its escape, fighting over supplies with other ships, it massacred fellow survivors brutally. Such acts were understandable in space's harsh environment. That Earth humans couldn't accept it. They felt those astronauts had lost their humanity, convicting them of crimes against humanity. So they sent the gravity to hunt them. Meanwhile, Blue Space crew realized through their journey they'd become utterly different from Earth humans, facing alien cosmic challenges. Facing life or death choices, they stopped seeing themselves as human, just cosmic drifters. Oh, a new space civilization in the universe. Just as the gravity was about to catch the blue space, news came that Earth humans were ruled by Trisolarans. Upon hearing this, both ships quickly decided to turn their guns outward and unite against the common enemy. They voted unanimously to broadcast a message into the universe, calling for a dark forest strike against the Trisolaran world. As soon as the broadcast went out, Trisolaran's plans were ruined. Oh, the aggressive Second Fleet turned around and fled without a word. The reason is simple. Both Trisolaris and solar system coordinates were exposed, and a dark forest strike was imminent. These two systems became death zones. Everyone avoids. Colonizing Earth was pointless, so humanity was saved again. These two ships turned the tide, especially the blue space, becoming humanity's heroes. Meanwhile, humans clung to a sliver of hope. Since if Trisolarans were hit, Earth and the same system might not escape. But that hope was quickly shattered. 4 years later, humans observed a photowave striking Trisolaris' star at incredible speed. The star's explosion engulfed Trisolaris, destroying the Trisolaran civilization that had tangled with humans for centuries. But humanity's story continues. Now, let's turn to Yun Tianming, who was sent off in the first operation. After all that effort, his head delivery finally paid off. Sophon, preparing to flee Earth, brought Cheng Xin shocking news. Yun Tianming was revived by the Trisolaran fleet and wants to see Cheng Xin. Oh, turns out the fleeing Trisolaran fleet preserved a force for their civilization, and Yun Tianming is with the Trisolaran fleet. So what happened after he met Cheng Xin? Did he have any good ideas to save humanity? Let's find out together. Part 3. Cheng Xin's third action and choice. Cheng Xin met Yun Tianming via remote call in space. Having been with the Trisolaran fleet, he knew many secrets. Maybe it's mutual solar system sympathy, or perhaps Trisolarans genuinely appreciate human civilization. Oh, they don't want to see Earth vanish just like that. But out of a very conflicted mindset, the Trisolaran civilization also doesn't want to tell Cheng Xin how to save humanity. Therefore, to keep it secret, the Trisolarans are strictly monitoring their conversation. But Yun Tianming Oh, he was clearly prepared. He's now the fairy tale king of the Trisolaran world, having written tons of stories for him. So he told Cheng Xin a fairy tale packed with metaphors and hints. Oh, this tale is included in the huge pile of stories he wrote before. That's why the Trisolarans have no guard against what he says. At parting, he made a pact with Cheng Xin, hoping to meet in person on Yun Tianming's star someday. Yun Tianming's story goes like this. Let's tell it to everyone. Once upon a time, there was a kingdom on an island, surrounded by a sea full of piranhas. Folks inside couldn't get out, and outsiders couldn't come in. One day, the ambitious second prince and an evil painter teamed up, killed the king and queen, and got ready to steal the throne. This evil painter had a crazy skill. He could paint anyone he saw, and poof, that person vanished forever. At the critical moment, the only surviving princess escaped just in time. She rode a small boat driven by soap bubbles, busted through the piranha siege, went to a far-off island, found the long-lost eldest prince, and together they beat the second prince and the painter. The story wrapped up perfectly. Cheng Xin didn't say a word the whole time. She just listened quietly, memorizing Yun Tinming's every sentence like it was a kung fu secret manual. After Cheng Xin got back to Earth, experts jumped right in to crack this carefully crafted fairy tale. They believed Yun Tianming wouldn't ditch humanity. He must have told him how to fix their death crisis in the tale. Sure enough, they spotted a self-rescue plan for humanity from it. In Yun Tianming's fairy tale, the kingdom surrounded by the Piranha Sea stands for the solar system in a death crisis, and the Lightspeed ship plan is hinted. In the story, there's a bit where the princess traps the piranhas with soap bubbles, transparent, weightless bubbles. Then her boat moves forward because the bubble surfaces are curved. From this, humans figured out Yun Tianming's metaphor. They can build light-speed ships using curvature drive tech to escape the solar system. What does curvature drive mean? It's a physics term. What does it mean? Simply put, it lets ships reach speeds close to or even faster than light, so humans can escape the solar system. By now, Cheng Xin is the CEO of a huge tech company, and she put Wade, who once tried to assassinate her, in charge to focus fully on researching lightspeed ships. Besides the lightspeed ship plan, humans have a second self-rescue plan called the bunker plan. The bunker plan means building space cities behind giant planets like Jupiter and Saturn in the solar system, using them as shields against dark forest strikes. When a photoid strikes a star, planets close to the sun will definitely explode and be swallowed up. But giant planets farther from the sun, like Jupiter and Saturn, will survive and block the heat and radiation from the explosion, letting humans hiding behind them survive. In Wade's view, the bunker plan is just scraping by. It's passive defense. Only researching light-speed ships is proactive and can truly protect human life. But this plan isn't very popular with the public. Because even if we succeed in making light-speed ships, they can only carry a few people to escape. Most humans would still die. It's not about scarcity, but inequality. The whole society opposes this plan, but Cheng Xin agrees with Wade and supports his research. The Lightspeed ship plan. While Wade buried himself in research, Cheng Xin chose to hibernate again. Before going into hibernation, she insisted on setting a bottom line with Wade. If his actions threaten human lives, he must tell her, and she has the final say. Decades later, when Cheng Xin was woken up again, the bunker plan was mostly complete, and humans were migrating from Earth to space cities, living in space. The very old Wade told her that the Lightspeed ship plan was also progressing very well. During their research, they found that curvature drive technology leaves traces in space. Even though humans exposed the solar system's location when broadcasting the Trisolaran coordinates, the traces from curvature ships would make it even more thoroughly exposed. So not only is the public complaining, But officials also strongly oppose it, and they've declared researching light speed ships illegal. To achieve the goal, Wade gathered a suicide squad, declaring they'd go head to head with authorities as long as Cheng Xin gave the word. No matter what, they'd finish the light speed ship. But Cheng Xin strongly opposed it. Oh, the squad's antimatter weapons were devastating. Conflict would inevitably cause massive casualties. Her morals and values couldn't tolerate such things, so she ordered surrender. The result? Wade was arrested, quickly executed, and the lightspeed ship plan was scrapped. Before dying, Wade left Cheng Xin a message. Lose humanity, lose much. Lose animal instinct, lose everything. After this, Cheng Xin hibernated again, waiting for the dark forest strike. Yet the expected solar explosion never came. Instead, a tiny slip of paper drifted into the solar system. This harmless-looking slip was a dual-vector foil. Like a soap bubble. No thickness, no weight, yet it unleashed the strike that utterly destroyed the solar system. Dimensional strike. This was another hint in Yun Tianming's fairy tale, the needle eye painter who could turn living people into paper figures. Needle eye symbolized this attack method, reducing the three-dimensional solar system to 2D space, erasing all civilizations and life within. As the dual vector foil spread, the solar system began collapsing from 3D to 2D, turning into a gigantic, thickness-less painting. Every detail of every planet was etched onto this paper-thin canvas, then vanished forever from three-dimensional space. No doubt, the bunker plan was defenseless against this attack. As space kept falling into 2D, every bunker city was doomed. The only escape? Flying beyond the solar system at light speed. Yep, Wade was right yet again. Lightspeed ships proved to be the sole survival method. This was Cheng Xin's third choice. She brought back Yun Tianming's fairy tale, and humans decoded the only path he pointed to: build lightspeed ships and flee the solar system. Oh, however, Cheng Xin rejected this plan at the last moment, choosing the bunker plan that seemed to save all humanity, but she didn't expect that under the dimensional strike destroying the whole solar system, the bunker plan was totally ineffective. Hey, but don't rush to criticize yet. The story isn't over. Oh, turns out someone is still carrying on with the lightspeed ship plan. Him. Cheng Xin learned that after Wade died, his followers were still researching it. Oh, the lightspeed ship, and they actually built one? This is humanity's only shot to escape death. At the critical moment, Cheng Xin boarded the ship and set off for Yun Tianming's star, as they'd agreed. And behind her, the solar system had turned completely 2D, with no life left at all. Will Cheng Xin make it to Yun Tianming's star? What will she face there? All right, let's dive into part 4 to see Cheng Xin's last choice. In this part, we'll uncover the fuller cosmic truth behind the dimensional strike and dark forest. Before we get to Cheng Xin, let's check out gravity and blue space. Yeah, these two space warships, they're the ones that sent the gravitational wave broadcast revealing Trisolaris's coordinates. Oh, when the solar system got hit, the two ships were safe because they'd already flown far out into space. And on their journey, they stumbled upon something just as shocking as the dimensional strike: four-dimensional space, with an extra dimension beyond 3. So in 4D space, folks can see stuff that's invisible in 3D. When the crews entered 4D space, they realized they could see every little detail inside sealed objects. Like, with a person, they could see the skin and even touch what's under it, veins, muscles, organs, down to every cell. Oh, compared to 3D, 4D space has endless detail because there's an extra direction, not in 3D. The 4D world feels vast and endless. Crews coming back from 4D had trouble readjusting to the cramped 3D world. The crews also found that these soap bubble 4D fragments aren't just magical, they're all over the universe. All signs suggest the universe was once a full 4-dimensional world way, way back. Oh, These four-dimensional fragments are relics from the universe's dimensional reduction to 3D. As time passed, both ships established colonies. After the solar system's destruction, continuing human civilization, they became more advanced than solar system humans and uncovered deeper cosmic truths. When they detected humanity's only light-speed ship heading to Yun Tianming's star, Guan Yifan from Blue Space was ordered to await Cheng Xin there. Oh, when Guan Yifan saw Cheng Xin again, he didn't know he'd become the third important man in her life. In fact, he'd even accompany her for the rest of her days. Through conversations with Guan Yifan, Cheng Xin finally learned why the solar system suffered dimensional reduction. It turns out, dimensional reduction is a common tactic among advanced cosmic civilizations for mutual attacks. Like when 4D civilizations reduced the entire universe to 3D to strike enemies. In the 3D universe, the solar system was similarly attacked by an advanced civilization. Their tech far surpassed Trisolarans and humans. They effortlessly reduced the solar system from 3D to 2D. Chengxian asked Guan Yifan, when will the solar system's fall into two dimensions stop? Guan Yifan gave a deeply unsettling answer. Once dimensional reduction starts, it never stops, meaning the entire universe is within its scope. Chengxian asked, wouldn't the attackers suffer too? Guan Yifan replied that advanced civilizations transform themselves into lower dimensional life beforehand. Though difficult, it's doable for survival. So, the universe has been undergoing this endless dimensional reduction and destruction. Following this trend, the whole universe will eventually drop to two or even one dimension. Chengxian couldn't fathom life existing in a two-dimensional or one-dimensional universe. It'd be utter silence. In fact, today's universe is already a war-torn ruin, riddled with scars. Guan Yifan also told her that long ago, the universe had a pastoral age. Back then, it wasn't 4D or 5D, but a beautiful 10 dimensions. 10 dimensions. What does 10 dimensions mean? Well, as 3D beings, humans can't imagine it. It's beyond words. But the pastoral age is long gone. Now the universe is like an old man riddled with illness, on the brink of death. Yes, the universe is dying. This is the cosmic truth, darker than the dark forest. However, there's a group of mysterious returners in the universe, dedicated to restarting it, preparing for when it reduces to 0 dimensions. When the universe reduces to 0 dimensions, they'll trigger a new Big Bang, returning it to the 10-dimensional pastoral age. Now back to Cheng Xin. In the vast expanse of time and space, she ultimately couldn't wait for the promised meeting with Yun Tianming. But she and Guan Yifan discovered that Yun Tianming left them a small universe here, an independent space outside the great universe, essentially a doomsday sanctuary. Time in the small universe differs from the great universe. Yun Tianming hoped they could survive the cosmic apocalypse within it. So, in the small universe, Cheng Xin and Guan Yifan began a peaceful life of farming and reading, until one day they received a broadcast from the returners of the great universe, saying, the cosmos has reached its most critical moment. Next is either rebirth or eternal death. For the universe's rebirth, the returners urge all small universes to return their matter to the great universe, because without enough matter, it will expand forever, cooling into death, unable to achieve rebirth. Of course, the two decided to return everything from the small universe, but after returning it all, Cheng Xin looked at the empty, lifeless space and felt deeply sad. So she placed a life, symbolizing terrarium, inside, secretly hoping the great universe could overlook this tiny 5-kilogram discrepancy and successfully reboot to that beautiful pastoral age. Here, the story of Death's End concludes. Liu Cixin left an open ending, letting readers imagine whether the great universe can complete the reboot and achieve immortality. Once media interviewed Liu Cixin, asking about Cheng Xin and Yun Tianming's fates, and the universe's final outcome. The Liu Cixin replied that it's up to the readers to imagine. Any interpretation for me would block a path of imagination. That's probably why he left an open ending. Many readers have also made their own guesses about this open ending. Uh, mm, some readers think the universe's reboot is hard, and there's even a little rumor circulating. The ending of Death's End wasn't Liu Cixin's original draft, but came from later discussions with his editor. In the original version, the universe's final fate was predetermined. Oh, it was precisely Cheng Xin's terrarium that doomed the universe to silence, letting death claim victory. This was the result of her final choice. Is this rumor actually true? Well, probably not. It's more like some reader's imagination and wishful thinking. But this imagination fits the theme of Death End perfectly. This death doesn't mean the advanced civilization or any person, but the universe's ultimate end. In Death's End, life is temporary, while death is eternal. In the cosmos, no matter how advanced or noble the civilization, death is the final destination. Thus, only death itself achieves immortality. That's what Death's End means. All right, let's discuss the controversial protagonist, Cheng Xin, an idealist driven by extreme emotion. Yet this emotional nature brought catastrophic disasters. Out of love for humanity and guilt toward Yun Tianming, she ran for swordholder. Oh, but she didn't realize her softness and indecisiveness made her unfit. She failed to deter the Trisolarans, leading gravity to broadcast gravitational waves, exposing the solar system and dooming Earth. Later, humans had decoded Yun Tianming's hints. Escaping in curvature propulsion ships was the survival method. But Cheng Xin rejected this, unable to abandon other humans, ultimately causing humanity's extinction. No wonder readers despise her. Some even say, give me a dual-vector foil to eliminate Cheng Xin. In contrast to emotional Cheng Xin, Liu Cixin created Wade, the embodiment of rationality, a thorough realist. He'd spare no cost to achieve goals. His actions surpassed morality, born from abstract calculation. This actually aligns with an old Chinese saying, full of wisdom. Kindness doesn't command troops. Righteousness doesn't manage wealth. To rephrase it, it's essentially about value rationality versus instrumental rationality. Value rationality and instrumental rationality are paired concepts proposed by sociologist Max Weber. Instrumental rationality means achieving goals through the most efficient means, regardless of cost. It emphasizes action outcomes while ignoring emotional and spiritual aspects. In contrast, value rationality, embodied by Wade, focuses on principles like justice, loyalty, and kindness behind actions. Decisions based on value rationality prioritize whether core values can be upheld. The outcomes become secondary. Cheng Xin exemplifies someone dominated by value rationality. As Liu Cixin responded to reader debates, in a way, Cheng Xin is actually selfish. But this selfishness is unique. She's unaware of it, caring only for morality and conscience. She sees herself as noble and selfless, believing her values universally correct. Consequences matter only if they preserve her inner peace. Such people sacrifice lives for values yet remain selfish at core. Sacrificing conscience is harder than sacrificing life. Much harder. But were humanity's pivotal choices truly Cheng Xin's decisions alone? Not at all. Cheng Xin was elected swordholder by all humanity. The curvature drive plan she abandoned was opposed by the masses to save themselves. Through Cheng Xin, Liu Cixin explores collective irrationality. French psychologist Gustave Le Bon coined group unconscious in his book The Crowd. This concept emerged from his study of the French Revolution. When crowds gather emotionally, individuals unconsciously merge into collective consciousness, losing independent thought. Thus, group mentality replaces individual spirit. This replacement manifests in two ways: disappearance of individuality and intensification of emotions. Simply put, crowds are easily fooled, incited, and swayed. ultimately forming irrational collective emotions like anger, paranoia, impulsive fervor, and emotionalism. In such situations, independent thinkers vanish, leading to extreme actions. In the novel, Luo Ji was first hailed as a hero, then met with disdain and criticism. Even when leaving the swordholder post, he was convicted of crimes against humanity. Cheng Xin faced the same. First blindly worshipped as a saint, then scorned when she failed to deter the Trisolarans. It was this collective irrationality that ultimately caused humanity's downfall. All right, we now understand rationality comprehensively, but death's ends theme creates a dilemma. On one hand, Liu Cixin questions whether rational thought and action can save humanity, but death's ends theme suggests pessimistic fatalism. All things ultimately move toward cosmic destruction. So what use is humanity's meager effort? Faced with death's end, human rationality seems worthless. Then why discuss rationality's meaning? Does three-body ultimately express such pessimistic cosmic philosophy? Actually, this confusion offers dialectical insight. Human rationality is limited. Our insignificance may prevent full cosmic understanding. But by using limited rationality to battle death, humanity powerfully defends its dignity. In The Theory of Everything, Hawking held this view. He said, "We humans are advanced primates on a minor planet, with billions of galaxies beyond the Milky Way. However, since the dawn of human civilization, people have never stopped exploring the fundamental laws of the universe. Just like the universe has no boundaries, human potential also knows no limits. Death is the destination of every life, and the beauty of life lies in key moments, resisting group irrationality and collective unconsciousness, and realizing one's value under instrumental and value rationality. In other words, it's precisely because death is eternal that life becomes more precious." All right, finally, let's chat a bit more. We've spent so much time discussing and listening to the three-body problem. What's the meaning of understanding the three-body problem? Simply put, Liu Cixin's writing offers a solution approach to the most critical issues in today's world. What is this most important problem? Huh? It's that our civilization is slowly withering in its development, with humanities scholars constantly writing to explain this. A huge change facing today's world is digital and digital transformation. Our phones are getting fancier. AR and VR and AI tech are also maturing. But the whole world hasn't become more open. 50 years ago, our astronauts went to another planet. We launched ships that could leave the solar system. We sent probes to explore various planets. Yet now, we're all huddled away, endlessly enjoying the virtual world. If civilization is a child, that child is becoming more introverted and withdrawn, not outgoing and extroverted. The simplest example: the last human moon landing was in 1972, 46 years without setting foot on another planet beyond Earth. Thus, humanity's exploratory steps have stalled and we've gone astray. So what should we do? Liu Cixin has addressed this in interviews. His advice is to leave the comfort zone of pleasure and lift our eyes from screens. Humanity's goal should be the vast universe, not the virtual world before us. All right, here we conclude our full explanation of the three-body series. That's all. The audiobook notes are below the audio. See you tomorrow.